Hi guys, welcome back. Thanks again for tuning in. Today I want to talk about how to stick to your plan, whether that be a meal plan or whether you have macros for yourself. I'll kind of tell you guys how I've been successful with sticking to my plan. So the biggest thing too is just not giving up. So I'll tell you a little bit about my fitness journey. I would say began about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, probably like 5. I've been lifting weights consistently for about like 4.5 years. But before that, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was doing a lot of cardio, a lot of low calories, a lot of restricting myself of foods I really liked, and still drinking. So I would go out, I would drink after not eating all day, and then I would come home and just, pretty much binge on whatever I could find, like usually like peanut butter and jelly or just like, random stuff, whatever I could find, pizza, whatever. And then I would wake up the next morning and I would feel really bad because I spent the whole day, trying to get myself in a deficit at the gym doing cardio and eating low calories, and then I would come home and, next thing I know, I ate all this garbage and now I'm feeling like crap the next day. And then, another week would go by and the same thing would happen. And it happened again and again and again. And, I notice a lot of my clients will go through this as well. They mess up, they go off their diet, and then they feel bad. And yes, that is obviously something you're going to be upset about, but part of me feels, or at least this was the case for me, that I had to mess up in order to improve from it. You only learn during the hard times and through your struggles, you learn. So this is kind of a connection that I made a long time ago. It's kind of random, but if you guys have ever heard of the study, it's the Pavlov's dog study where, they ring the bell and then the dogs are fed food. And then, they ring the bell, they're fed the food, and eventually the sound of the bell alone causes them to salivate because they know that the food is coming. So they associate the bell with food. And it's honestly the same thing. I mean, we're mammals. Like, it's the same concept. So, like, you go off your plan and you eat bad or give in, go off your diet, and then you feel bad. And then you go off your diet again and you feel bad. Go off your diet, you feel bad. Eventually, for me, it got to the point where I was like, okay, now I associate going off my plan with feeling bad. I'm not thinking about like, oh, like I really want to eat this, I'm just going to do it anyways. Like, no, I associate that with feeling bad. So for me, it's not really a sacrifice to not give in to these foods because I know that I'm going to feel bad when I do it. So I don't do it. Hold on. I'm like cooking chicken in the oven right now. You guys gotta give me a second. All right, we'll edit that out. Okay. Okay, so eventually I began to just associate going off my plan with feeling bad. And so basically what I'm trying to say is if that's what you are going through, think of it as a learning experience. And it definitely will get better. Just don't give up. Keep going. My second tip is to just always be thinking about your goals. A lot of people too are like, I'm nervous, like I don't want to give in, like I don't want to go to this party because I'm nervous, like I don't want to mess up. The biggest thing to realize is that you are in control. So if you don't want to go off your plan, you won't. It's that simple. So just have your goals in the back of your mind because your friends, your family, they're going to convince you to give in. And my family still does it to me this day. I will give you guys an example. Last weekend I went over to my dad's house and they were giving me a hard time about not eating what they were eating. And yeah, it was uncomfortable. made me feel kind of bad. And for a second, I thought about just eating it and, giving in. And then I was like, no, no way. Like, especially when I'm a trainer and I tell people, not to give in. There was no way in hell that I was going to give in. So, I have a lot of mantras that I repeat to myself and that I will say to myself during these times. Like, one of my favorite ones is the pain of discipline is far less than the pain of regret. And that's really one that I repeat to myself all the time when I don't want to do something, because I know in that moment I might not want to do those HIIT intervals. I might not want to, eat this particular food or not eat this particular food, but I know that the pain or the discomfort I'm feeling is going to be far less than what I would feel if I gave in. I would feel like absolute shit. So that's a big one for me that I use. Another tip I would say is just make your goals known to everybody around you. So the sooner you do that, the sooner people realize what your goals are. They're going to stop trying to push you, and it's going to start to turn around. So, like, instead of being like, why aren't you eating this? Why aren't you eating that? It's going to turn into, like, for me, like, if I'm eating something that they don't expect me to eat, they're like, oh, Heather, like, what are you eating? So it's weird. It'll be a turnaround, but like that turnaround will happen. You just gotta, stay the course, and eventually they're not really gonna care. It's the same thing with drinking. I was in a sorority in college. I was very much into going out and partying every weekend, and so when I stopped drinking, kind of like pretty much cold turkey, like I'm gonna drink water. My friends kind of looked at me like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? You're not going to drink? Like, I was kind of weird for them to not see me drinking. But I was dead set on this. And, this was before I was really having any kind of results or any kind of success, or before I ever competed. But I knew what my goals are. I had them very clear in my mind, and I still do. I know exactly where I want to go. And nobody else may understand that. Nobody else sees what I see, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is what you see and what your vision is. So, keeping your goals focused, letting everybody around you know, and just not caring what other people think. As basic as that sounds, you just can't care. And it's so crazy because, like, getting into like bodybuilding and fitness, like, has taught me how to do that. Like, I used to like run my life based on like what people would think, and I would be scared to do things because I didn't want to fail, because I cared about what other people thought. It wasn't so much about, I'm scared to fail. It's more like, what are people going to think if I don't succeed? And you just got to get rid of that mentality. And I know it sounds like difficult, but it really is like that simple, as saying, I'm going to do this and I don't care. And that's kind of like what this whole, what bodybuilding has really taught me, is just to put myself out there and not care what other people think, and, do what truly makes me happy. So, as long as I'm not hurting anybody and I'm being the best person that I can be, then that's all that matters. So, those are kind of the biggest things that have helped me to stick to my plan. Just keeping your goals focused, knowing what you want, and having a plan to get there. And as soon as you stick through that plan, it becomes easier and easier, and you start to feel better and better about yourself. You're like, wow, especially if you're really fighting a craving hard, waking up the next morning and being like, wow, I didn't give in. Like, you feel amazing. You feel really good about yourself. It boosts up your self-esteem, boosts up your confidence. It shows you like what you're really capable of. And then the last thing, which I will touch on in other videos that's helped me to stick to my plan, is using a macros approach. If you are using a kind of like a meal plan approach, if you are cutting out any single food group approach, in my opinion, those are not good approaches, and those are not going to last forever. You need to learn the principles of nutrition and moderation and portion control, and you will learn that no foods are off limits. You can eat whatever you want, but it's going to have to fit within specific ranges based on what your body is. And again, I will touch on that in later episodes. But, by freeing my mind of this mentality that I can only eat this and not that, leads you to want to go off your plan. It leads you to like crave these foods. So now that I don't have that type of approach, I'm able to eat what I want. I stick to mostly whole, clean, healthy foods, but if I want to work in some chocolate, I will. So I will touch on that in later videos. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.